How's it going, everybody? Martha Cross 316 back with another comic book flashback. Today we are looking at The Amazing Spider-Man, issue number 59. This issue came out in April of 1968. And as we look on the cover today, we have Spider-Man. And he looks like he's fighting these couple of criminals here. But also we need to take note that this is the first cover appearance of Mary Jane Watson. We've seen Mary Jane Watson, she's been in a lot of issues as we've been looking at these reviews, but this is the first cover appearance of Mary Jane Watson. So that's pretty cool. Just wanted to let y'all know about that. And we're going to be focusing on this villain here. He goes by the name of the Brainwasher. And so who is the Brainwasher? We're going to find all this out, and I think you'll be in for a great surprise today as to who is the Brainwasher. We're going to find all this out. So before we get started, go ahead and give this video a like. And if you have not subscribed to this YouTube channel, go ahead and subscribe, because you're going to see more videos just like this. And I hope that you just tag along for the journey as we continue to look at the Amazing Spider-Man series here. It is one of the best comic book series of all time, I have to say. And so let's go ahead and get started with today's issue. As always, this is brought to you by Stan the Man Lee, who wrote this issue. We have John Romita doing the penciling, as well as Don Heck. We have Mickey DeMeo doing the inking. We have also Artie Simek doing the lettering page. And now, on to our story. So we have Spider-Man, and as we recall, Spider-Man is still wanted by the police. He is wanted by the police because of the people that have been missing. One person in particular is Peter Parker, and the reports have said that Peter Parker was kidnapped by Spider-Man. That's been in the reports, and so now the police are after Spider-Man as to why Spider-Man would have been kidnapping someone like Peter Parker. But of course, we know that Peter Parker is, in fact, Spider-Man, and that Spider-Man had fought Dr. Octopus in the last few issues, as we've seen, as well as Kazar, and then also last issue he had to fight the Spider Slayer, and so that was one big issue right there. And so Spider-Man trying to, get away from the cops as best as he can. It's going to be very hard for him to clear his name because of J. Jonah Jameson always publishing articles in the Daily Bugle about, Spider-Man being a criminal. And so now we see Spider-Man here. He still needs to go check on Aunt May. As we know, she's been in the hospital for quite some time. She fell from her bed as she was trying to get up. She's been worrying about Peter Parker. As we know, Peter Parker has been missing. And so she fell. She was rushed to the hospital, and now we see that Spider-Man, as Peter Parker, is going to come visit Aunt May to cheer her up. And that's exactly what we see right here as Peter Parker slips through. He's almost caught right here by this janitor, but of course he was successful in meeting with Aunt May, and she is so happy to see him. Just seeing his presence is better than any tonic, as we see what the doctor says here. And we see that Aunt May will be just fine now. She can rest easily now that she knows that Peter Parker is safe and is pretty much not missing. And so we see right here that Peter Parker is feeling relieved here that his Aunt May is doing just fine. And now he knows he needs to go clear his name, as he's been missing for quite some time. He goes to the police headquarters, and here is where Peter Parker is going to be questioned by the police force, as well as Captain Stacy. As we've seen, he made his first appearance in issue 56, and he is also the father of Gwen Stacy. And so we see that one out of all of these people here, we see that Captain Stacy is the one person that is very interested in Spider-Man. And so as Peter Parker is clearing himself as well as his connection to Spider-Man, he's going to go with Captain Stacy here, and Captain Stacy is going to question Peter Parker in private. And we come to find out that Captain Stacy here has collected many films about Spider-Man. He knows and has been studying the career of Spider-Man um, by the time that he started his vigilantism, and also just his whole career pretty much. And he's asking Peter Parker how he knows about Spider-Man, and since he's seen Spider-Man in person, could he give him any information? And we see that Captain Stacy here says that he's only seen to be fighting criminals and he's never seen to attack the innocent. And Peter Parker agrees with him. And while they're talking, we see that Gwen Stacy comes into the room and she is just so excited to see Peter Parker, and she gives him one big hug here. And I have to say, man, if you were doubting whether Gwen Stacy had any attraction to Peter Parker, we see right here that our doubts are answered here, as we see that we do in fact know that Gwen Stacy has some feelings for Peter Parker, as she says basically that we have missed you. But then we see that Captain Stacy's like, we were worried, Gwendolyn. And so we see that Peter Parker was again just shocked by the affection that the affection he received from Gwen Stacy here, and he's just so excited. He has butterflies in his stomach. We could see that Peter Parker's just happy to be with Gwen Stacy, being around Gwen Stacy. And of course, we also see that Harry Osborn, although he's had his, anger and he's just been mad at him for quite some time. We see that both Peter Parker and Harry Osborn do in fact, they come back together as friends. They sweep all the past under the rug, and they're back to being good friends here. And we come to find out that Mary Jane Watson has received a job as a dancer at this Gloom-A-Go-Go. And this is where we're going to see Mary Jane, basically, she's going to be performing in front of a bunch of people, and we're also going to be introduced to our cast of criminals and villains in this issue, and where we will meet the Brainwasher. We have all of the Brainwasher's henchmen here, and there's a brainwashing machine that is going to be used. And one thing they want to do here, these criminals, they want to basically take over the government. And one way they're going to do that is they're going to use Mary Jane Watson to do that, as she is going to take photos of these celebrities, these political officials, these high-ranking officials here. And we're going to see exactly how all this takes place here, as Spider-Man here takes down these common day foes. This is just a little filler stuff going on right here. And we see that Spider-Man is going to come. He's going to get some shut-eye here to get ready for the next night, as we see Mary Jane is going to be used here. As I said, she's going to be taking some photos of these celebrities. We see here that there can't be any slip-ups here, but Mary Jane, of course, does not know exactly why she needs to take these photos. So we see that Gwen Stacy, Harry Osborn, and Peter Parker, they all show up to see their friend dance. And but we also see that Captain Stacy comes. We see a lot of other high-ranking officials come, and they're all here. They're all present to just have a good time here, to just watch the very beautiful Mary Jane Watson dance in front of everybody on the big stage here. And then we see that her friends here, they want their pictures taken, but Mary Jane says, "I'm sorry, I can't. I got to only take pictures of the celebrities." Peter Parker was wondering, why is that? And so we see right here just the effects of what happens when Mary Jane takes these photos, and we see that these people start to feel very dizzy, and they all feel like they need to get up and get some air. And the same thing happens with Captain Stacy as Mary Jane takes his picture. We see that Captain Stacy walks out, and here we see that Slade, who is this guy right here, he's the one that's in charge of making sure that everything's going according to plan. We see that Captain Stacy is, he's under the effect of this brainwashing effect from the camera, but he's also doubting as to why this is happening. So he's trying to fight the effects. He's the only person that's doing this, and so we see that he's being taken hostage here, and we see that Gwen Stacy's very worried as to where her father went. So Peter Parker gets up from his seat, changes to Spider-Man to check on what's going on. He has a very funny feeling about this, and his suspicions are answered here as he fights down these common day thugs here, and he's going to find out what the heck is going on. And so as we see that Spider-Man is taking down these criminals here, and he's asking what the heck is going on. We see that Mary Jane hears a bunch of ruckus going on in the back. She comes out, then she's taken hostage by this criminal, and then we see that Spider-Man webs up the gun, saves Mary Jane, and we see right here that Spider-Man tells her to get out of the way. You need to run. And so we see here we're finally going to see who this Brainwasher figure is, who is behind all of this. We're going to find out right here in just a couple of seconds, and boom, here we go. The man behind this whole brainwashing scheme was none other than the Kingpin. Yes, we haven't seen the Kingpin since issue number 51. And so here we go. We have Spider-Man going up against this very hard villain, this very strong villain. And we're going to find out what the heck happens next issue as Spider-Man goes up against the Kingpin. And so I'm looking forward to that, and I hope you're looking forward to that as well. And until next time, keep reading comics.